Many Americans believe in a more proactive approach to global engagement, rooted in democratic values. They argue that as a nation founded on principles of liberty, equality, and justice, the United States has a responsibility to promote and protect these values worldwide. Supporters of internationalism often argue that engagement in global affairs is essential for maintaining global stability, advancing human rights, and promoting democracy. A significant aspect of American democratic values is the belief in protecting and advancing the country's national interests. Americans may have different interpretations of what those interests entail and how they should be balanced with global involvement. Some may argue for a more cautious and selective approach, ensuring that American interests are prioritized while still engaging with the international community. How are Americans worried about how much the U.S. should be involved globally, included with the history of immigration in America? The United States has been a destination for immigrants from various parts of the world, and their experiences have shaped the country's culture, economic, and political landscape. Immigrants and their people often bring with them diverse perspectives and connections to their countries or origin. This can influence attitudes towards global involvement, with some Americans convincing for a more engaged approach due to their personal ties or a sense of global interconnectedness. Immigrant communities often maintain strong connections to their countries of origin. These communities can often convince for U.S. involvement in global affairs, especially when it is aligned with their interests or concerns. They may urge the U.S. government to take action on issues such as human rights abuses or conflicts in their home countries, thus influencing public opinion and policy debates on global engagement. The history of immigration in America has contributed to a diverse range of perspectives on global involvement. The varying experiences, values, and connections of immigrants and their people have influenced attitudes towards the United States' role in the world, leading to ongoing debates and discussions on the appropriate level of global engagement. How are Americans worried about how much the U.S. should be involved globally, included with the economic history of America? The United States has long been a major player in the global economy. Economic considerations often shape Americans' perceptions of global involvement. Some argue that active global engagement is necessary to protect and advance American economic interests, such as ensuring access for foreign markets, securing favorable trade agreements, and promoting international investment. On the other hand, concerns about economic competition, job loss, and trade imbalances can lead to calls for more cautious or protectionist approaches. The rise of globalization and interconnectedness of economics have shaped America's attitudes towards global involvement. Some argue that in an increasingly connected world, the United States cannot afford to retreat from global economic engagement. They contend that active participation in international trade, investment, and economic institutions is essential for America's prosperity and influence. Others, however, may express concerns about the impact of globalization on domestic industries and employment, leading to calls for more protectionist measures. Economic history has also shown the link between economic power and national security. Some Americans view global economic involvement as critical for maintaining national security, arguing that economic independence can foster stability and reduce the likelihood of conflicts. On the other hand, concerns may arise regarding dependence on foreign economies or the potential vulnerability of domestic industries, prompting calls for a more cautious approach. It is important to note that the economic perspectives on global involvement can differ among individuals, industries, and regions within the United States. The economic history of America has contributed to a complex and evolving set of viewpoints on the country's global economic role, resulting in ongoing discussions and debates on the appropriate extent of U.S. global economic engagement. How are Americans worried about how much the U.S. should be involved globally, included with war, especially within the last century? The United States has been involved in several major wars in the past century, such as World Wars I and II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and more recent conflicts in the Middle East. These experiences have led to war fatigue among some Americans and awareness of extensive global military involvement. The human and financial costs of war, including casualties, economic burdens, and long term consequences, can lead to public skepticism or opposition to further military engagements. Americans often reflect on the outcomes and lessons of past wars when considering future global involvement. Controversial conflicts such as the Vietnam War has shaped public sentiment, highlighting the importance of considering the potential consequences and justifications for military action. Skepticism and caution about the effectiveness of military interventions have grown in some circles as a result of historical lessons. America's wariness about global involvement is often intertwined with concerns about national security. While there is a broad support for protecting the country from external threats, there can be divergent opinions on the appropriate level of military engagement abroad. Some Americans argue for a more restrained approach, prioritizing domestic security and focusing on direct threats, while others emphasize the need for proactive global engagement to address emerging security challenges.